The sit command. Teaching your dog the sit command could be one of the most useful commands you ever teach him. A poorly trained dog is a direct reflection on you, the pet owner, and how much you care about your dog. In fact, an untrained dog becomes a nuisance to its owner, therefore the dog and the owner become unhappy. Whether it's a puppy or a fully grown dog, you can teach them to sit with a little effort on your part. Use some of these tips to teach your dog to sit. You're going to need some treats. Unfortunately, this is always the best way to get a dog to do something you want. You can use anything you know the dog enjoys, biscuits, chewy treats, etc. The main goal is to get your dog to sit when you use the word sit. One way you can gradually get your dog used to the word is by saying the word when the dog is sitting anyway. Dog sits down, you say sit and praise them. You will also need to practice this every day by doing the following. Call your dog and offer them a treat. Let them sniff the treat and get excited first. Slowly move the treat until it's over the dog's head. The dog will naturally move into the sitting position. It's important that the dog associates the activity of sitting with the treat and the praise. Try to get your timing right. Keep bribing the dog and gradually decrease the size of the treat. Keep enthusiastically praising the dog. Repeat this exercise a few times a day. Don't overdo it, you want the pet to think of it as fun. Try to practice around meal times when your dog is hungry. This will make him keener for the treats. Have the treats easily accessible, don't fumble around. The treat needs to happen as the dog is sitting. Don't push your dog's bottom down. This won't work because your pet will associate the action of sitting with having you push his bottom to the ground. If this really isn't working, you might want to consider obedience classes with other dogs. End each training session on a positive note. Teaching your dog to sit using these positive reinforcement techniques will strengthen the bond between you. Consider it time well spent. Once you've mastered the basic command sit, it should be quite easy to train your dog in other basic commands. Sit, stay, down, heel and come are some of the most useful commands. Use the treats in a similar way. Training your dog is an ongoing process. You want to keep praising the dog regularly and never associate anger with the dog's reaction to your command. Make use of every new situation to train or put your training into practice. The most important part about training how to sit is that the dog sits under a variety of conditions. Train your dog to sit in new environments, around other dogs, around new people, when the doorbell rings, etc. Come when called. Training your dog to come back to you reliably can be boiled down to one simple piece of advice. Make the dog come back to you every time you call him until he becomes conditioned to do it on his own. If you call the dog and cannot make him come, for example because he's not wearing the long line, then what have you just taught him? You've taught him that he does not have to come. Whatever you end up teaching your dog, to come or not to come, you will have done an excellent job of training your dog to do it. If he ignores you when you tug on the leash, then this tells me that you're not tugging firmly enough to get his attention. Make sure that you're getting slack in your line when you tug, and make sure that you've got the pinch collar fitted firmly enough.